Thank you for joining me for the Explorer project, part of the HANA Academy. We are looking at the third video out of 6, where we will see how we copy data across from MySQL to HANA using data services. We had seen in previous videos how we connect data services to MySQL and how we connect to HANA. What we'll do here is look at what's happening inside data services to copy data. In data services, we will create a job. The job is the unit of work that the server can execute in batch mode or in real-time mode. We'll create a batch job here. Inside the batch job, you can have one or multiple data flows. The data flow moves data across. Inside our single data flow, we'll import the MySQL tables on the left. Once we have the MySQL tables, we'll create corresponding template tables, which are pointing to the HANA schema we created earlier. And finally, we'll just link the two together. This indicates to data services that the template tables should look exactly the same as the source tables. So let's take a look at this in action with Bob.
So to do this, we need to do this in Data Services Designer. Firstly, we need to build a project. So to build a project, on the top left-hand side, we can go to Project, New, and select Project. So this will build us a new project. We can give it a name, which we're going to call STS, and then we can click on the Create button. You can see a project just as a folder. The next step is to build the job. So to build a job, you simply right-click on the project and select New Batch Job. We're going to rename this job to be STS Job and press Return. Now the job is one of the most important parts in DS because this is the thing that you execute, and this is the thing that will hit the job server and do all the work. So we can actually run the job without having anything within the job. This is a good test to make sure that your job server is running. To execute a job, all you need to do is right-click on your job and select Execute. You'll then be prompted to save all changes, so that's fine, you can click on Yes. And then you'll be presented with the Execution Properties window. I could spend a lot of time talking about these options, but for now, we're just going to click on OK. Now, even though we've got nothing in the job, what we're doing here is testing successfully that the job server works. So what you should see as your last line in the log file is that it says, job is completed successfully. This proves that our data services job server is working. So now we can go and add our other content. To do that, let's firstly close all the windows by selecting the Close All Windows icon underneath the Tools menu, as indicated on the screen. The next stage underneath a job is a data flow. So to build your data flow, simply double-click on the job. You know you are on what is called the job level because on the right-hand side at the bottom of the screen you should see a clock with an arrow pointing out of it. This means you are on the job level. This is important because this is where you add your other objects. There are various objects in which you can add, but we're going to add one of the most crucial parts of a job, which is the data flow. To add a data flow, simply click on the right hand side where you can see the mouse now. Single click with your mouse, and if you move your mouse now across this canvas, you should see a clear barrel with the actual mouse. To drop the object, just click again with the left mouse and then you have your data flow in your job. Let's call this data flow STS_DF and press Return. So to go into the data flow level, we double click on the data flow, and now we should see that the data flow is within the job and the job is within the project. We also know we're on the data flow level because on the right hand side we can see a barrel and an arrow pointing out of that barrel. That means we're at the data flow level. Now what we want to do is select all of the tables from our MySQL tables database and copy them to HANA. To do this, we select our 6th tab in our local objects library, which again is our data stores tab. We expand the MySQL data store, expand tables if it isn't already expanded, and we can select the top table, which is dim customer, press shift on our keyboard, and at the same time left click on the 4th table so all 4 tables are selected. We can then drag these tables onto our canvas and release. So what we've done here is we've selected the 4 tables from our MySQL database, and they're in one data flow called STS_DF. Now what we want to do is create the tables in HANA where this data will be copied to. There are different ways you can do this. One way is you can create the tables with a SQL statement in your SAP HANA Studio, import the tables into data services, and join the tables together. We're going to choose a simpler method which is called a template table method. This will essentially create the table on the fly based on the source table. So to do this, on the right hand side of your canvas you can see an option which is the 6th one down called template table as indicated on the screen. Select the template table and then you should be able to drag it with your mouse. In fact, you don't need to drag it, you can just select it once and click somewhere on the actual canvas. This template table for us is going to be called dim customer. We're going to put it into HANA so we can tab down and select HANA. And if we click tab again, we can enter the system name, which is STS. So table name dim customer, in data store HANA, owner name STS, and then we can click on OK to create the template table. All I would need to do then is join the source table in MySQL to the target table in HANA. If you move your mouse over the source table to where the exit point of that table is, you should see that the mouse turns into a little hand as indicated on the screen. All I need to do then is left click on the mouse and join the 2 tables together as indicated. So that's the dim customer table done first. I'm going to go ahead and do the other tables quite quickly. So again, I'm going to select the template table on the right hand side by clicking on template table and dropping it on the canvas next to dim period. For the table name, I'm going to type dim period, and again the owner name is going to be STS. I'll do the same thing for dim product. And lastly, I'll do the same thing for the facts table. So now we've created our 4 template tables. All I need to do is join the other 3 tables up to their MySQL equivalent. So dim period in MySQL will join to dim period in HANA. Dim product in MySQL will join to dim product in HANA. And fact customer order in MySQL will join to fact customer order in HANA. Now what you'll notice on the left hand side, the source tables have a magnifying glass next to those tables. This is because if I click on the magnifying glass, I can see that we have data inside of those tables. You'll see no magnifying glass on the right hand side because of course these tables don't exist yet. They will only exist once we execute the job. To do that, firstly I'm going to close this dim customer table in MySQL by clicking on the X as indicated on the screen, which is about halfway down the screen on the right hand side. I'm going to go and select my STS job on the left hand side, right click on that job and select execute. Again, I'll save all changes, so I can click on yes, I want to save all changes. And again, in the execution properties window, I'll just click on OK. This is essentially going to copy the data from the 4 tables in MySQL to 4 brand new tables in our HANA database. So what we're looking for is that the job has completed successfully, as you can see here. And to test that we've loaded the data correctly, if I go back to my data flow, I can now see we have magnifying glasses on our target tables. And if I select the dim customer view data icon or the magnifying glass, we should now see that we have data in our HANA database. So that's a very simple description and tutorial on how to load data from a MySQL database on a Windows box into your HANA database on the Linux server using SAP Business Objects Data Services. As we don't really need data services anymore, you can now go to Project, Exit, and if you're asked to save any changes, just click on Yes.